NCERT solution to class 10 exercise 4.3 chapter quadratic equation question number 1. Find the roots of the following quadratic equations if they exist by the method of completing squares. We need to find out the roots for 4 quadratic equations. In this video we'll be working on this equation. We'll be looking at 2 methods to complete squares to find the answer. Subsequently we'll find out the solution to the remaining 3. We'll use one or the other method for each of these things in the subsequent video. This video focuses only on the first quadratic equation. As we are solving this, we'll also check out why those steps are being done the way they are done. Let's get started with the first of the quadratic equations. 2x square minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. What do you mean by completing squares? At the end of this process, you need to be able to write this equation as x minus q the whole square is equal to a k. Therefore, when you take square root, you can find the value of x minus q and then the value of x. Let's just focus on this left hand side to start with. So what does the expansion of that tell us? That tells us x square minus 2qx plus q square is the expansion for the left hand side. So we need to write this equation to start with to resemble this. The coefficient of x square here is a 1. The coefficient of x square with us is a 2. So let's get that to be a 1. So step 1 in method 1 is divide the entire equation by the coefficient of x square so that the coefficient of x square becomes 1. In this case, it is a 2 which is the coefficient of x square. So let's divide the entire equation by a 2. So what will be left with is x square minus 7 by 2x plus a 3 by 2 equals 0. So this equation has been written in this different form with the coefficient of x square being a 1. Step 2. We'll be dividing the coefficient of x, which is minus 7 by 2, by a 2. It's always a 2, irrespective of what we have, because here the coefficient of x square has been converted to a 1. So this equation, whatever is the coefficient of x, we're going to be dividing it by 2. Before we do that, let's check out why we are doing what we are doing. We are writing this equation to look like x square minus 2qx plus q square equals a k. So this 2qx has to be our minus 7 by 2x. Minus 2qx is equal to minus 7 by 2x. So 2qx is equal to 7 by 2x. Our objective is to determine the value of q. So we can write this equation to look like an x minus q the whole square. So let's find out the value of q. That's why we are doing this. Let's check out how that happens. Divide both sides by an x. X gets cancelled with x. So 2q equals 7 by 2. So the value of q is equal to 7 by 2 by 2, which is equal to 7 by 4. So how did we get the value of q? By dividing the 7 by 2 by a 2. So value of q for us is equal to 7 by 4. So now let's make this entire equation look like x square minus 2qx plus q square. X square is as is. We are not going to do anything to that. Minus 7 by 2x, which is your 2qx. That is also perfectly alright. So we are going to make a plus q square term in it. If q is equal to a 7 by 4, the plus q square is going to be a 7 by 4 the whole square. We have added a 7 by 4 the whole square. Let's subtract a 7 by 4 the whole square. So the effect of adding it is nullified. We have added a term, we have subtracted a term, nothing is going to change. And then there is still a 3 by 2 left. Let's not forget that. So 3 by 2 equals 0. Now these 3 terms together are nothing but x minus 7 by 4 the whole square. Because we have written this in the form x minus q the whole square, where q is equal to a 7 by 4. So let's do that in this slide and take the rest to the next one. So x minus 7 by 4 the whole square is what all these 3 things together become. So this is equal to, if I take it to the right hand side, 7 by 4 the whole square minus 7 by 4 the whole square becomes 7 by 4 the whole square minus a 3 by 2. Let's solve the right hand side by taking the entire thing to the right. Next slide. X minus 7 by 4 the whole square. X minus 7 by 4 the whole square is equal to a 7 by 4 the whole square minus a 3 by 2. Right hand side alone, let's get started by solving it. This would be, or we'll write the entire equation. X minus 7 by 4 the whole square is equal to 7 square is a 49. 49 by 16 minus a 3 by 2. Take 16 as a common denominator for the right hand side. That will make it as 49 minus 24. 49 minus 24 is a 25. So 25 by 16 is the right hand side of this equation. So x minus 7 by 4 the whole square is equal to 25 by 16. Take square root on both sides. So what we'll have is x minus 7 by 4 is equal to a plus or minus 25. The square root of 25 is a 5. Square root of 16 is a 4. So plus or minus 5 by 4. So what is the value of x? X is essentially equal to 7 by 4 plus 5 by 4, or x could also take the value that 7 by 4 minus 5 by 4. These are the two values for x. 7 by 4 plus 5 by 4 is a 12 by 4, which is equal to 3. 7 minus 5 is a 2. 2 by 4 is equal to a 1 by 2. So values of x are 3 and 1 by 2. So we completed the square. We've gone through the method. We also checked out why it is happening. Quickly recap the method alone in the next slide in a printed form. Dividing the entire equation by 2, so the coefficient of x square becomes 1. So this is the equation that we have. Step 2, always this is going to be the same step. Divide the coefficient of x, which in this case is a minus 7 by 2 by 2. And then complete the square in this form. So whatever you get as a value, you got a 7 by 4 as a value, then basically minus 7 by 4, it's x minus 7 by 4 the whole square, minus 7 by 4 the whole square. You're adding and subtracting a 7 by 4 the whole square. That's what essentially happens. So this taken to expanded and taken to the right hand side will give us x minus 7 by 4 the whole square minus 49 minus 24 by 16 equals 0. Take square root on both sides. X minus 7 by 4 equals plus or minus 5 by 4. Solving for x, we get x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1 by 2. So step 1, the crux of step 1 is two things. So method 1 is two steps. The first step, get the coefficient of x square to be a 1. Second step, divide the coefficient of x in the new equation by a 2 and write it in the form x plus that value by x plus that value the whole square or x minus that value the whole square and complete the square. Let's look at method 2. Method 2, we're going to be writing this entire equation to look something like this in the form ax minus q the whole square equals a k. Again, let's forget the right hand side for a moment. Let's expand the left hand side. So what will we be left with? We'll have an a square x square minus 2axq plus a q square. So this is also a perfect square. So in this case, instead of having the coefficient of x square as a 1, we are making it into a perfect square. What is the coefficient of x square as it is given? It is a 2. How do I make it into a perfect square? By multiplying it with something. If I multiply it with a 2, the coefficient of x square becomes a perfect square. So that's what I'm going to do in the second method. So what we'll have is 4x square minus 14x plus 6 equals 0. Step 2, we're going to be dividing the coefficient of x, which in this case is a 14 or minus 14, by the coefficient of x square, which is equal to 4. What will this give us? This will give us the value of q. So let's check out why this is happening. Again, this 14x is the equivalent of 2axq. And we know that a square x square is equal to 4x square, which means we can deduce that a is equal to 2. So 2axq is equal to 14x, where a is equal to 2. Let's substitute a as a 2 here. So 2 into 2, 4xq is equal to 14x. Divide both sides by an x. We have 4q is equal to 14, or q is equal to 14 by 4, which is what we got. Right? Q is equal to 14 by 4. We kept it as minus 14 by 4 because then I would have said that take it as ax plus q, where q's value is minus 14 by 4. Or you write it as ax minus q as we started here. So q is equal to 14 by 4, which is equal to 7 by 2. Let's complete the square in this case also. So a square x square is a 4x square. Minus 2axq is equal to minus 14x. Your q is a 7 by 2. So you're going to add a q square to it. So that's a 7 by 2 the whole square. We've added a 7 by 2 the whole square. Subtract a 7 by 2 the whole square. So the equation remains intact. A 6 is still existing. So let's add that 6 to it and equate it to 0. So what is this part going to be? Ax is a 2x. Q is equal to a 7 by 2. So it's going to be 2x minus 7 by 2 the whole square. So completed the square. Take these two terms to the right hand side. You'll have a 7 by 2 the whole square minus 6. Let's take the take it to the next slide and solve it to find the value of x. If we bring forward whatever we wrote in the last slide here, we are going to be having 2x minus 7 by 2 the whole square is equal to a 7 by 2 the whole square minus a 6. Let's expand the term. This is going to be 49 by 4 minus 6 is equal to 2x minus 7 by 2 the whole square. Take 4 as a common denominator for the right hand side. What we'll have is 49 minus a 24. This will leave us with an answer which is 25 by 4. Take square root on both sides. So we'll have 2x minus 7 by 2 is equal to square root of 25 is a 5. Square root of 4 is equal to a 2. Plus or minus 5 by 2 is what we'll have. So what is the value of 2x? 2x is equal to 7 by 2 plus a 5 by 2, or 2x can be equal to 7 by 2 minus a 5 by 2. 7 plus 5 is a 12 by 2, which is equal to 6. So 2x could either be a 6, or 2x is going to be 7 minus 5, which is a 2, 2 by 2, which is equal to 1. If 2x equals 6 or 2x equals 1, x will be equal to 6 by 2, which is equal to 3, or a 1 by 2. So both these methods will give you the same answer. Both these methods we are completing squares. In the first method, we are completing it to resemble an x minus q the whole square form. In the second method, we are completing it to resemble an ax minus q the whole square form. Quickly summarize the second method in a printed form. We multiplied the coefficient of x square by a 2 so that the coefficient of x square becomes a perfect square. Second step, we are going to be dividing the coefficient of x by the coefficient of x square and complete the square as follows. 2x minus 7 by 2 the whole square. The coefficient of x is a 14, of that of x square is a 4. 14 by 4 is a 7 by 2. So 2x minus 7 by 2 the whole square minus 7 by 2 the whole square plus 6 equals 0. We'll be taking all these terms to the right hand side, solving for x, and the value of x becomes 3 or 1 by 2. Pause the video at this point if you want to go through these steps slowly. Right? Gist of completing the squares is writing the equation either in the form x minus q the whole square equals k, or an ax minus q the whole square equals a k. Supercharge your math quotient. Sign up today for online CBSE math classes at online.maxtute.com. I'll repeat it, it's online.maxtute.com. And before you leave, check out the related videos and remember to subscribe to this channel.